Good evening and welcome to Doc Ellis Foundation's Missing Voices. Tonight, I'm your host, Michelle Luster, and I have two lovely ladies with me tonight, Miranda's mother and her aunt. How are you guys doing tonight?
We're doing good. How are you?
Not too bad. Well, I'm going to play a little clip, and after that, I will begin the interview.
Well, have you seen this woman? Denver police need your help finding her, Miranda Connor. She was last seen near 44th and Argonne and Green Valley Ranch on February 3rd. New at 8, her mom is pleading for answers, telling me she's worried about what happened to her daughter.
I'm definitely worried she's in danger.
Tabitha Spann just wants her daughter to come home.
She will never, ever go a day without speaking to her children or us, her family. She's always on the phone calling us. She would never leave her phone behind.
Denver police say Miranda was last seen around 1 in the morning on February 3rd in this area, the intersection of 44th Avenue and Argonne Street in Green Valley Ranch. Spann, who lives in Arizona, said her grandkids, who are 11 and 9, called her asking if she knew where their mom was. She said no and asked to talk to Miranda's roommate.
I asked her, I said, how long has Miranda been missing? She said, well, I haven't seen her in a couple of days.
Police tell Denver 7 due to the sensitivity and integrity of the investigation, they can't confirm many details at this time, stressing that they are actively investigating the circumstances of her disappearance and where she might be. The national organization, the Doc Ellis Foundation, has gotten involved in this case. The organization represents families of missing loved ones in the minority community.
The picture is so much different. There's absolutely no comparison. It's about being a voice for those who are voiceless and has no one to speak up for them.
That's why Spann is asking the public to call police with any information they may have.
We're just asking for the public to just, open their hearts and minds and just think if they've seen something, hear something, to just speak out.
If you have any information, you're being asked to call Denver police right away at 720-913-2000 or Metro Denver Crime Stoppers at 720-913-7867.
Okay, Tabitha, as you see that clip, how does that make you feel?
I was trying not to cry, but it hurts because we miss her and we love her and we want her home.
Absolutely. How does it make you feel, Dina? Can you hear us, Dina?
I mean, I live in Illinois, but I still miss her every day I look.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, since we got this case, we've all grown to know Miranda, and just me watching it, it brings tears to my eyes because I know what you're feeling. Next week is my sister's anniversary, so I know the pain that you're going through because I'm dealing with it myself. For the audience, Miranda came up missing on February 3rd in Denver, Colorado. Could you please share with the audience about your daughter?
Well, Miranda,
as your daughter and as a mother.
Miranda, she's 31 years old. She's got two children, Zayden and Zaira, 11 and 9. She loves them very much. She was very free spirit person, loved to help people, always was involved with doing things and was always trying to be there to help others.
And on the day she came up missing, how did you find out she was missing?
I got a phone call from my grandkids on a Saturday, which was the day after she went missing. And they asked me if I had spoken to her. And I told them no, I haven't spoken to her. I asked, how long have they been missing? And they said, well, we haven't heard from her in a couple of days. So then I asked to speak to her roommate.
Right.
And the roommate got on the phone. Roommate said, no, we haven't seen or heard from her. in a couple of days. And I said, so have you, filed a police report? She said, not yet.
Mm-hmm.
So then I asked her to file a police report. So that's when she did.
Okay. And since she's been missing, have you had much luck with the police department? Have they
No,
been?
at first, when the case was in Denver, because that's where they thought she originally went missing, we were getting a lot of response because Denver had the capability to research her phone and everything. But then once it was found out that she actually did go missing in Federal Heights where her phone last pinged, they moved the case to Federal Heights. And since it's a smaller department, they haven't gotten far with her case because they have a lot of digital information that they need to get through. So until they can get through that, they can't do much.
Do you think that her being a woman of color plays a part in them not working as hard, or?
Well, her and her background, when her missing person was first found, they posted a picture of her mugshot on the missing
Mm-hmm.
persons report instead of an updated picture of what she looked like. So it took her roommate quite a long time to get them to change the picture on the missing persons report. And because, of her lifestyle, right?
Right.
They just, because of her lifestyle and her, her being a woman of color, they just kind of, it wasn't an urgency, and
Right.
it was suspicious. I mean, 2 days after she went missing, 3 days after she went missing, her phone was found broke in the same place where she went missing at.
Yeah.
So obviously it's something suspicious. Something happened in that area. Something happened to her in where she was at over there in Federal Heights.
Right. If the police happens to be watching tonight, what would you want them, like, what would you want to tell them that you need from them?
I need them to update me. Let me know what's going on. What are their plans? Are they going to do any searches themselves? I want to be there when they do searches. I mean, I want to look for my daughter, so I would come to Colorado to help search for her and bring people to help search to help them. So I just any kind of update that, hey, we've gotten through, the videos, we've gotten through her phone. We got a couple of leads we're working on, just anything, just to say, okay, hey, we're still working it. I know it takes time. I know that they're a small police department,
Right.
but just an update would be nice.
So when was the last time you said that they updated you?
It was probably about 3 or 4 weeks ago.
Okay. Okay. And how did you say that the children, how are her siblings doing?
Her siblings are really hurting, especially her sister, Fantasia. They were very close, and
Mm-hmm.
they're wanting answers just like we do. But the police will only speak to me, but they're not even communicating with me either. So it makes it hard to give updates to family and friends when I'm not getting them myself.
Right. And what would you like to say, Dina, about the situation?
We just need more information. We just need to find out where she's at.
Right.
She does have nieces and nephews over here, and they're still worried.
Absolutely. Do you think the community came out like they should have, or do you think that the community didn't come out and that's what's hindering the case?
I don't think the community came out. I mean, the area is known. For a high crime area. There's a lot of things going on in that area. I think people are used to being quiet and not speaking up when things happen, but this is somebody's loved one. If it was their loved
Right.
one, they would want someone to speak up, say something. And people just don't go missing.
Right.
So I know sometimes, we want to be quiet to protect people, or we don't want to be involved because we don't want to maybe have to testify or whatever it is, but you can call anonymously, call from a payphone or somebody else's phone if you feel like, it's going to be traced back, but, at least give some kind of information where we can find her.
Right. Right. Is there anyone out there that you think that may know something that you would want to say something to tonight?
If you were with Miranda the night that she went missing, and if you even weren't even involved in her going missing, or you know where she went the night she went missing, or who she was with, just please speak up. It doesn't, I mean, at this point, it doesn't matter. We just need closure. We need to know where she's at. We need to bring her home. Her kids need closure. They need to know where their mom's at.
Absolutely, absolutely. Are you still in contact with her friends in Denver, like her roommate? And
Yes, her roommate, her roommate's sister. Her roommate's sister has helped a lot with passing out flyers. She was willing to do an interview for me, and her roommate has done an interview. Her ex-boyfriend has been helping pass out flyers because I'm not there. I'm not local. I can't push like I can if I were local. So they're all helping. And we even have friends of her that were in Denver that moved to another state that are sending clothes for the kids and getting updates, and we got wonderful support from her friends and and family, but it's the community that we need support from now. They're the ones that need to help us. They need to speak up and just help us find her. There's millions of people going missing every day, and because no one speaks up, then nobody gets closure.
absolutely, people do. If they seen something, they need to say something. We say that all the time, and for whatever reason, I mean, I don't think people understand how it feels to live in the not knowing.
It's worse than knowing. It's worse than knowing that she passed away and she's not going to be with us anymore. It's worse because you don't know if she's been taken and she's in sex trafficking, or somebody has her held and they're abusing her. We don't know that, and all that stuff makes your mind wonder. And what's happening to her, where she's at.
Absolutely, gives you anxiety, fear. I mean, everything just runs through your head. So that part, I don't think they'll ever understand. Hopefully they never have a loved one go missing, but I think it's only those that have loved ones missing understand how that feels.
Exactly.
How do you feel about the fact that they are considering this like a homicide?
Well, it worries me that they might have information
Mm-hmm.
that's leading that way, because now it's like a closed book, because they're trying to protect the integrity of the case and they're investigating it like a murder case. They can't give a lot of information to me. So then that's even worse, So that's why I was saying just an update, saying we're still working on it.
Absolutely.
I mean, these cases go cold real fast. And
yes.
If nobody is searching or looking or pushing, it's just nobody's going to keep looking at it until maybe her body's found 6 or 7 years from now, or maybe 20 years from now, like we see all over the place.
Yeah, because like for me and my family, it's been 22 years. We're going on the 22nd anniversary next week. Living in the not knowing, it has physically made me sick, mentally made me sick. How has it affected your mental health?
I stray strong for my grandkids, but it does. It's affected me, A lot of people think that, I don't show a lot of emotion about it, which I don't, because I know that I have to keep searching and stay strong.
Right.
And I know that eventually God's going to give it to me when I need to hear it, but I still got to keep pushing, because if I don't do anything, then I'm not going to get the answers I need.
Well, to me, you seem like a very strong woman. I mean, I've watched you. The organization has watched you, and you are like one of the role models of the families we work with. And we work with some great families. Okay, now we're going to play a video, and then we're going to come right back.
My daughter, Miranda Connor, 30 years old, went missing February 3rd, 2023. She has 2 young children that need her. Please help us bring her home.
Bring her home!
Hi, I just wanted to stop by and show my support. I can't stay long because I have to work, but I want you guys to know that you're always in my prayers every day. And Miranda, if you're watching this, I hope you're somewhere safe and you come home soon. Your babies need you. And yeah, this is starting to hit home for me. So I hope you're somewhere safe.
We love you, Miranda. We're all praying for your safe return. We won't stop searching until you come home.
Everybody knows that my friend has been missing since February. Miranda, we love you. We miss you. And we want you to come home. Not only to us, but your kids and your family, your mom. We want you to come home and return home the fast and safest way that you could as possible. Please bring Miranda home. We love you.
We miss you, Miranda. We want to help bring Miranda home safely. We love you.
Miranda has been missing since February the 3rd. If you've seen anything or heard anything, please contact the Denver police. Thanks.
We really miss you, Miranda, and we really just want you home. Let's bring her home, guys.
Okay. After watching that video, how does that make you feel, seeing all the support that Miranda has with her family?
It helps give us strength to keep searching for her. You know, just families and friends that love her and want her home, and they're continuing to search, continuing to share. I mean, as much as we can get it out there, the better. I mean, the media has been really good about giving interviews and updates, but sometimes since it's not going national, she could be in another state. She could be in another state somewhere, and we don't know that. We need it out there nationally. We need it shared everywhere, on everybody's Facebook page, every gone missing, anything to help us get answers or help bring her home. Because somebody might have seen her in another state somewhere and can speak up and say something.
I'm glad you brought that up, because we did an interview with WHIO here in Dayton, Ohio, and the discussion was on the media and minorities. And I know that when I spoke with him, that I had shared that the local media had been really there for my family, but nationally, not so much. And the fact that you just said the exact same thing that I said to him speaks volumes, because I don't think that you hardly ever see a missing minority get national attention.
Yeah, there was another young lady that went missing the same time Miranda was, and she was Caucasian, and she got more news attention than my daughter. And thankfully she was found safe. But my daughter is still missing, and she hasn't got the attention she needs so that we can bring her home.
Absolutely.
I mean, somebody could have been in Denver when she went missing and visiting and left to another state. And they wouldn't have known that she was missing unless it was broadcast nationally.
Absolutely. And that's exactly what I told him. And I had suggested, maybe at the end of your news segment that you share missing person flyers, because so many people want to get media attention that don't. They don't even get local media attention. So, if you're getting that much, you're fortunate. But to get national media, I don't see that hardly at all with the minority community, especially the Black community.
I've been thankful that I've had the Doc Ellis Foundation, because I probably have not gotten where I have gotten right now with the media attention without them, because people, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know where to go. I didn't know what the next steps I needed to take. How do I get the word out there? And then when Doc Ellis stepped in, they gave me direction. I was able to start doing stuff, and they helped me get on the news and stuff. So, I mean, I'm thankful for that, because a lot of missing people don't even get that attention.
Right. You're absolutely right. And I know what you're saying about the Doc Ellis Foundation because when I met them, I think it was late September, um, I was probably in year 21 and I was feeling defeated and I felt nobody was listening to me. And then I bumped into them, and ever since then, I see a change in my step. I'm more determined. I'm never going to give up, and I'm going to keep fighting. So I definitely agree with you about the Doc Ellis Foundation. Has law enforcement completed any searches?
I do know that Denver said that they have completed some. They did show me videos and pictures when they did some searches, but Federal Heights said that they will not be conducting any searches right now because they have so much digital information that they need to get through first.
So they're not going to search because they have so much digital stuff to go through.
Yeah. And I get it because, you know, they're trying to trace Miranda's steps, maybe see who was with her, you know, what she was doing. And I get that. But then for me, it's like, at what point does another department step in and help, like the FBI? When do they step in and help? And okay, we got a lot of information. Miranda was on her phone 24/7.
Right.
You could get where she was, what she was doing.
Exactly.
So when does FBI step in when we got a lot of information where a small police department cannot get through it? I mean, basically, what Denver did in a month would have taken Federal Heights 6 months to a year to do. So
wow.
if they keep on going at that pace, it's going to take forever for us to get any kind of information about what's going on with Miranda. And it's not their fault. I mean, I understand that they have a small police department, but it's like, when does some other department step in? You know, when did they help? When did they offer a bigger reward? Or like, how come it's being investigated like a murder case, but her reward is still at $2,000? And then you see others that are more.
Yeah, because we have a case here in Dayton, Ohio. The FBI has stepped in, Sierra Chapman, and she's got a $20,000 reward. So that was very different from the normal. Minorities don't usually get that at all. I'm just going to be completely honest. I've never seen it. My sister's been missing for almost 22 years, and she's never had that. And she was very popular. She's been a very popular case because I think it's because she was working in the field she was working in with law enforcement and stuff, criminal justice field. So I think that that's kind of brought an interest to the public. So yeah, I mean, I just don't understand why another agency doesn't step in to help, or
especially when there's so much information. I mean, the comments I'm getting from both Denver and Federal Heights, they got a lot of data, so they're just having trouble getting through it all. So right. I mean, group up 5 to 10 people to start going through the data and seeing, you know, looking at the cameras or the video that was in the area that they're looking at, or whatever they're doing in her phone. I mean, they'll get through it faster. Then if we need to do a search, we can get to the search faster, but it's taking forever. I mean, she could have been in that apartment complex held up by somebody, and now because it's taking so long, they've moved her already.
Absolutely.
We don't know.
I always come off of invisible sometimes when I hear things and I have a point to make, but this is Jasmine, CEO and founder of the Doc Ellis Foundation, and I'm, I usually play the back end so I can make sure audio and chat is going well. But I'm hearing everybody, and I have concerns because, as the individuals who are trying to help bring Miranda home, we have reached out to the Attorney General. We have reached out to, what would be considered the FBI out there. We have reached out to detectives, and unfortunately, there's no reason on why it would take so long for them to collect the information they need to collect. Let's be real here. And I think what happens is that families feel obligated to have to understand the slowness of the police department. You feel obligated because you really genuinely want your loved one home, but the reality of it is it's not okay. It's not okay because if you would do what needs to be done, there's a possibility she could have been home. Okay, so I had to jump in because the reality is, yes, we want to have these conversations, and yes, we want everybody to understand what's going on, and we want to empathize and we want to sympathize, and we're here to partner with law enforcement. But when wrong is wrong, wrong is wrong, and
Right.
this is not the way an investigation is supposed to go when there's an individual out there who is missing, who you consider in danger. This is not what the
Absolutely.
Doc Ellis Foundation is saying. This is not what her mother is saying. Law enforcement has stated that they believe that she is in danger, and you have moved the case from missing to a homicide. What would be the reason? What is the reason? Those are the questions that we need to be asking law enforcement. Those are the things that we need to be holding them accountable for. You can't just give me that as a reason and tell me that you're going to move my loved one's case from one thing to another and not explain to me those reasons. How
Right.
does that make a person feel as a family? How? And so I had to jump in because I want you guys both to understand. You don't have to make them feel that what they're doing is okay. Sometimes you have to light the fire, and you have to let them know that it's not okay that my loved one's case is being handled like this. It's not okay that we are going into 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months and there's no answers. It's not okay that you get to call me every 3 weeks or 4 weeks to tell me that you still don't have anything.
Right.
Because Tabitha, we have been here with you, and the searches that have been conducted, those were by way of Mom and Doc Ellis Foundation and partners that came in. That was not law enforcement that led those searches. That was Mom that found jackets and was standing out there in the snow. And that was Mom who was going forward and talking to the media. That is not so. Again, and I'm going to ask this question. I'm only asking because I want to pick people's brains up. Outside of them calling to give you an update, what exactly have they done to bring Miranda home?
I can't even give an answer to that because I don't have one. I have pictures that a detective sent me that they were doing searches, but I don't know if they really did the search because I wasn't there. Was he just sending me a picture to keep me satisfied? I don't know. Because
Right.
they're not giving me that detail. They just keep on telling me that they need to protect the integrity of the case. And that's all they keep telling me.
And
Wow.
as an organization, and I want to kind of jump in again. A comment popped up, and it was from Gone Missing, and they do an amazing job. But it's the comment was, stay less of the racist comments, please. I want everybody to understand this is not about. It's really not about racism. We talk about this all the time. Years ago, there was a phrase that came out, and they would call it the white woman syndrome.
Right.
And back then that may have been it. This is about disparities. And when you brought up a situation like her criminal background, those are things that they do when you are a minority. That is what is done. And it's not just law enforcement, it is also the media. And one of the questions that came out from the reporter the other day was, well, what can the media do different? The media can stop making a person look like a bad person. Because
Right.
you know what? The reality of it is whatever they did in their past, that has nothing to do with them missing today. And it doesn't mean that their family doesn't want them home. You know how many mothers we work with whose child may have been involved in something illegal, and they say, I just want them home, whether it's in handcuffs or not. So it's not about racism, it's about the disparities. It's about the criminal background. It's about you being judgmental. It's about you looking at the way they live, and because they don't live in a fancy house and drive big cars, and they live in what you would consider not to be the best neighborhood, you don't put that much effort into it. Do you know how many families are told by detectives we're not going to utilize or waste our resources? What does that mean when you're looking for a missing person? How do you say that to somebody's mother, to their daughter, to their grandmother, to their sister, to their aunt? What do you mean by not waste your resources? And I think that people, let's be clear about, that's why we come in and we help. And I want to explain this so people understand. We come in and we provide law enforcement with those resources that most families would not even know they exist. People don't know that your child is not making the media because law enforcement's not giving them the okay. People don't know that. People think that, oh, well, yeah, it's the media's fault. No, there is times that reporters are reaching out to us and they're going, we want to do a story, but law enforcement said no. There are search teams with drones and canine dogs and helicopters and you name it, and they go, we want to help, but law enforcement said no.
Right.
These are things that behind the scene, the people are not aware of. There is a lot of politicking behind what's going on when we are dealing with missing persons. Tell me, why does this person get to make it to CNN, but I only get to make it to my local channel 7? What makes them different? Let's be real about the conversation, because in order to change it, we have to confront it. We can't keep dancing around the mulberry bush when with a child, every 40 seconds, a child is reported missing. Every 40 seconds. With minority women or minorities, 40% of minorities are reported missing. They make up 13% of a population. It's not about what I think. It's, if we look at the numbers, it doesn't make sense. We can sit all day long and say, thank you so much for the police department. And originally they were talking, but the moment they moved it from missing to homicide, you're now dealing with a totally different investigator. And a homicide investigator is not going to speak because you're right. They don't want to impede the investigation. So then what do you do? Then what are the next steps that a mom is supposed to do? It's not okay, and I'm not going to allow them to believe that it's okay. I'm not going to allow the viewers to believe that it's okay. It's not all right. There's a bigger problem also. We can let's talk about the issues. Well, she went missing and somebody somewhere saw something. And there is an active tip line that's open, and I can count on one hand how many tips have come in about Miranda. People don't vanish. Somebody saw something, but people will talk amongst each other. People will get on the phone and make phone calls about what they heard or they thought they saw, but you won't call law enforcement or tip line that can give that information to help lead us in the direction. Because I remember when this case first came to us, there were a lot of people with a lot of things to say.
Right.
There were a lot of accusations and a lot of thought process behind it, and those people disappeared. And I want to know, why are certain people not questioned? And why are they not being brought in? Because to my knowledge, if you were the last person to see her, then you should be the first person they question. Mm-hmm. How many people have they brought into question?
Only one person that I know of, and it wasn't, from what I know of, it wasn't the person that I know that was the last person that's seen her.
Absolutely. So again, that is lack of investigating. And that's the problem that we have. And that's why we are here, is because we have to call it out. You have to call a spade what a spade is. This is not to ruffle feathers. This is not to, start a debate about racism and it's not. It's really not, because here's the thing. It's almost like it's just the blue line, period. Because there are good officers, there are bad officers, there are some that are racist, there are some that are not. There are detectives who want to do more who are not being given the okay to do more. And all those things are in the mix, but it doesn't take away from the fact that you have an entire police department who has not even come out to one search that we've put on.
And they knew about it. It's not like we did it in secret. They knew about it. So
there was a lot of media there.
Right. Just the fact that they haven't did a search.
That were there. And they still did not show up. So now we've got to figure out, how do we call on the people? The people need to start picking up the phone and calling the police department and demanding more.
Yep.
The people who are liking and subscribing or sharing, and the people that are listening, we need to pick up the phone and we need to call the police department and we need to demand that something is done. Because here's my question. If you're handling, you didn't just say, oh yeah, I feel like I don't really want to look into Miranda's case. Yeah, I don't want to do that. You didn't just pick Miranda. If you're handling Miranda's case like this, how many other people's cases are you handling like this? And then the question gets bigger. How many people are missing that there's no attention on, that we just don't know about?
Right. It's terrible.
That's the food for thought for everybody, is how many people are, let me tell you how small of a world it is. We're working multiple cases right now. And the other day we get a message and the person is asking about Miranda, and then it jumps from Miranda to somebody different. And I'm like, okay, are we talking about Miranda or are we talking about somebody else right now? And the person responded and said, no, I'm asking about Miranda, but I'm also checking on my loved one who was just found deceased. And I said, oh, wait a minute, you know Miranda? Well, yeah, I know Miranda. And then as I started to talk to the person whose deceased family, they also know about a case that we worked with a little girl named Tayana. Mm-hmm. And I went, look at that. Everybody is in a different state. They all know each other and they have all either come up missing or deceased. That's
right.
Scary.
Yep.
That is scary. These people are all in different locations and have some type of connection, but that just goes to show look at the numbers, look at the statistics, and look at how many people it's affecting when you can literally know the person that knows the person that knows the person that knows the person, and each one of us have somebody who's either missing and deceased or missing still.
Right.
That's impactful. Think about that.
That's that 40%.
That's the 40%. And that is what we mean. And that person, and this isn't to take away, but even look at that person. She reported her son missing. Law enforcement took the report, but it was her family who found her son behind a building, dead.
Right.
And they threw out a little article stating, hey, young man found deceased, and left it alone. It was never mentioned that he was reported missing.
Exactly.
Tayana, her family fought for her. The police would not put out an Amber Alert. They refused to believe that she was in the car that day. Days later, they found that baby executed on the side of a trash can. And now we have Miranda, and all you can tell us is that, well, based off of what we see, we're going to move it from missing to a homicide. And people don't believe that's a problem.
It's a big problem.
And I'm sorry, but I have to step on with my rant because I don't have a missing loved one, but it breaks my heart. And every day we are making contact with our families, or our families are calling us. And I hear the same thing that I heard from you, Tabitha. It's not no, and I completely understand. They have a lot going on. They really do. And I get it. And it's a lot of information to, for them to receive and to have to look over. But if it was a high profile case, it'd be done tomorrow.
Oh yeah, if it was a famous person's daughter, that was
Absolutely.
a minority, they would be on top of it.
Absolutely. Yeah. If this was something that they can get themselves on a fancy press conference, and they can make it onto 10-15 different stations at one time, there would be more answers. So why is it, what resource are you using on them that you're not using on our daughters and our sisters and our brothers and our children? What is the difference? And those are the questions that we have to ask. And we really have to look at this in we have to really look at it for what it is. There are every day, and for some who are tuning in and it's your first time and you're only here because you support Tabitha and Miranda, and you're not really tracking the missing persons world. Every day I get on Facebook, and literally it has to be hundreds of people.
Absolutely.
Every day I'm looking at about 50, 60 posts where somebody is saying, please, hey, please call me if you've seen my loved one. They've been missing for 5 or 6 days. Then next thing you know, it's a rest in peace comment, that pops up days later. This is not just one-offs. And I tell Michelle this all the time, and I say, that one person is missing for that family. On an organization level, we are dealing with a large amount of people who have a missing person reported missing. Mm-hmm. And every day there are text messages coming in, emails coming in, the media's calling, hey, did you see this story? Hey, listen, hey, I'm sorry, I need help. Or hey, my loved one's been missing and the police won't even take the report. They told me I need to wait 24 hours. They told me to wait 72 hours. They told me that they don't believe that my loved one is really missing, or they think that, she or he just wanted to go away for a little while and didn't want to make contact. As a mother, the first thing you said to us when you came to the Doc Ellis Foundation was something's wrong.
Yep.
Absolutely.
A mom knows. A mom knows when there's something wrong, and all it takes is for someone to have a listening ear and speak up or do something about it. And that's what happens. Is it's a minute point to the police because they don't want to do anything about it. It's too much work to look for a missing person.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I know Michelle asked you this question, and I'm going to ask you again, is if you could say anything, if you can just say anything to get law enforcement to pick it up a little bit more and do what they need to do to help bring Miranda home, what would you say to them?
Miranda's a person. This could be
Absolutely.
this could be your daughter missing. And would you handle it the same way that you're handling Miranda's case? Would you not help or do anything to help solve your own daughter's missing case? How would you handle it if it was your own daughter? Because that's the way you should that's the way they should look at it. If this was my family or my daughter, how would I handle this case? And if I know that it's been switched from a missing persons case to a homicide case, how much more does the family need answers, or would you need answers if your loved one was in the same situation? Because that's how they should look at it. This could be their loved one. And if it was their loved one, they would be handling it a lot differently.
Right. That's so true.
Absolutely. I just want to say, Tabitha, you are stuck with us. even if we find Miranda
Oh,
tomorrow,
you're stuck with me too. I'm not going nowhere.
even
We're
if
all
we
family
find her
now, so
tomorrow
it
and
is
she
what
is
it
on
is.
the beach drinking a Mai Tai, she's stuck with us, you're stuck with us, and the kids are stuck with us.
Yep.
And
Right.
I want everybody to know at this point, we have, we we have called, we have brought people out, we have searched, we have reached out to attorney generals, we have done media. There's never uh, too much media. We will always push for them to do an updated story. And like Tabitha said, the media for the most part has been really great, really, really great, very great.
They're always following up and seeing if
Mhm.
there's any new update that they can report on. So it's not the local media. It's basically gotten to a point to where it's in the police department's hands, and they need to do something about it. I mean, it's like
Absolutely.
we're waiting for them.
Mhm.
It feels like you're just waiting for them to do something about it.
Absolutely. And I know we had another comment that popped up, and somebody, Jacqueline, said, "Yep, confronted. I agree. Unfortunately, this is the world we live in." Shaking my head. That's very true, too. Another thing, and just based off of that comment, another thing that we work really hard at is, people go, well, the colors and Doc Ellis was a professional baseball player. What is that? What is the pink and the yellow and the purples? And what does all that have to do with a missing person? And how does that all intertwine? And, we really sat down and had to think about our branding because we wanted to do something that was going to catch the younger generation's eye. We have to teach them as well. How do you stay safe? When you're going somewhere, make sure you have your location on for one person that you trust. If you're going to leave with somebody, me and my cousin, we used to have a joke long time ago, and I guess it's just always been in my blood to kind of, want to be on this end where I'm able to help bring people home because me and my cousin, we would go out on a date and I'd call him like, the name on the ID says X, Y, and Z, and the address on the ID says X, Y, and Z. We've got to start teaching our kids how do they stay safe because we
Right.
live in a world where people seem to no longer care about life.
Exactly. I mean, now I find myself, I had a friend of mine that was going back to visit Ohio, and I made the comment, like, why are all the missing kids missing from Ohio? So I found myself telling her, well, make sure you got a location on her phone, you know where she's going. I tell
Yeah.
her about Life 360 because I'm like, you don't know what's going to happen, So now I find myself telling people, like, you need, and my grandkids have air tags on them everywhere they go because I'm scared that they're going to go missing. So it's just important that the system we're living in now is not like 40 and 50 years ago. We can't
Nope.
leave our doors unlocked. We can't
Nope.
trust people who are close to us because things happen. So
Yeah.
we just got to make people aware and put the word out there because our young ones think that being on the phone and doing things and just even on roadblocks, there's predators on
Yeah.
roadblocks, stuff like
Yeah.
that. We got to make people have to be aware of their surroundings and what their kids are doing. And even as young teenagers, be aware that not everybody is safe and not
Yeah.
everybody you go is safe. You have to be careful and you have to travel in twos. You have to let people know where you're going. And even if you don't want your parents to know, tell a good friend so that they know where you're at. Because that's why people go missing.
Yeah. And what the scarier part is, um, you know, we're very grateful that we get to sit in a lot of national trainings. And the other day we had somebody that we were talking to who was speaking about, grooming and the sex trafficking end of it. And we were having this debate, and I said, what people don't understand is that most people who are sex trafficked or involved in anything like that, it's usually by somebody
They know.
Or somebody they've met a couple of times and they've gained their
Yes.
trust. And once
Mm-hmm.
they've gained your trust, then they just snatch
Yeah,
you up.
they're in there. Yeah.
Absolutely. And how do we, even and not even just kids, women now, it's you go on a couple of dates, you don't realize this person has ill intentions, or I mean, internet dating is just totally not safe anymore. It used to be a cool thing back in the day, and the Black Planets and MySpaces and all these other things they used to have. And now it's, how do we, we have to bring awareness to cases like this, because we also need to teach people that we are not exempt. I
Right.
am not exempt, but I need for my circle to know that if I'm gone 1 hour too long, something's wrong.
Exactly.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, this is what, even if you don't want to go through the additional steps like some of us would do on this panel, we would turn our location on, call somebody and give them the address, let them know who we're with, because we may be a little we may be hyper thinking, right? But if you're not that person who thinks like that, at least make sure that you are doing the basics of your circle. Let your circle know.
Right.
And that's the only reason why we knew where Miranda was at, because she shared her location. She shared her location with me, and I was able to say her phone pinged here at 4:00 in the morning on Friday, and that was the last time it pinged.
Yeah.
And then that's where her phone was found.
Absolutely.
So, and that's how they were able to see that something suspicious went on with her, because she shared her location with me. And normally she didn't like to, but I was so worried about her, and I'm like, you're in a different state, you have to. I'm not going to be watching your location everywhere you go, but if something happens, at least I have it.
Well, and you would think, even with that, to go to the police and say, listen, me and my daughter share our location. Something's wrong. Here's the situation. It's not like, that's not a person that doesn't want to be found.
Right.
We don't share our locations if we don't want to be found.
Exactly.
And now I could understand if, we shared our location, then all of a sudden she, it turned off. Okay, maybe you want to tell me, well, there's a possibility that she could have turned it off. I still would fight that. But okay, that's a possibility. But to share locations, and I'm showing you, here's the location, here's where her phone is, and you still do not believe that should be a very high profile situation.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You just, and that's the unfortunate part. And we hope that one day we can sit down with different police departments around the country and let them know, hey, when somebody says something's wrong, who are you to tell me that something is not wrong with my loved one based off of a couple of words that I've given you, or sentences or phrases about this person? This is my family, and I know. And we have got to do better at, one, educating our own circles. We talk about it all the time. 1 hour too long. Listen, everybody knows when I get off of work, I'm coming home. Okay, I might stop at McDonald's. I might go to Burger King. I might, decide to go to Ross. But 2-3 hours go by and I'm not answering a phone or a text message, something's wrong. And don't down when they tell you, no, it's not. Yes, it is. Something's wrong. And don't wait for them to don't let them force you to wait to report your loved one missing. And, you have a very strong support system, Tabitha, and they are in here with the comments, honey, and they are coming up with ideas, and I salute it. Somebody popped up and said, we're going to do a protest, and I support that movement. And let's be clear, I don't think that this person means picket signs and rioting when they say protest, but to stand in front of a police department in silence with candles is a protest.
Yep.
Right.
To stand in front of a police department with all white candles and pictures of Miranda is a protest. To remind you that there are people out there who love her, who want her home, who need her home, and children who eventually are going to grow up. And that is eventually, whether we know it or not, we may not be able to see the full impact of how it is affecting them now. But as they grow up, to just know that they woke up one day and their mother vanished, that is going to impact them one day.
Yeah.
And even that, you have 2 small children who are without their mother. Where's the resources that that these organizations and police departments and the federal government have that they say that they provide to families? Has anybody called to offer the children therapy?
Nope, nothing.
Victims of crime, mental health services, wraparound services for you. This is what we mean by there's all these organizations out there and these billions of dollars that are moving around, but where are these resources at when it's time to provide it to the families?
Yeah, the biggest support I got was from my congregation, and my work actually was a really big support with help with supporting the kids. But other than that, I haven't got any help. Nobody reaching out, trying to help, get resources for therapy. They're going to need it. Just because they're not showing signs that they need it now, they're going to need it in the future.
Yes, they will.
Absolutely, and we will be here with those services. And I agree. I think it was Deborah or Thomas, or I can't remember who it was that popped up with that, but I think that should probably be the next step that we take, is a silent protest in front of the police department to remind them that Miranda matters.
Absolutely.
We can definitely talk about that offline and put those details together. I want to say thank you guys so much for coming on.
And thank you for all the support and helping bring Miranda home. We all appreciate it.
You're welcome. And thank you to the viewers for letting me rant. I can get in my girl. Sometimes I can get in my feelings because they don't understand. I just want to bring everybody's family home so we can all be happy. But again, thank you all for tuning in. For anybody who is interested, now that that has become an idea, that is a thought that will become a plan, you can reach out to Tabitha or the Doc Ellis Foundation so that we can start putting some things into motion for a silent protest. We will do all that we can to bring home Miss Miranda, Miss Sierra, and anybody else who's missing that we're working with. We are here with you guys 100% all the way. And with that, we will call it a night.
Thank you, everyone.
Good night.
This afternoon, we're looking deeper into media coverage of missing people, specifically why some missing persons cases tend to get more media attention than others. Newsletter 7's Brandon Lewis talked to local families and an organization that hopes no missing or trafficked person falls between the cracks.
People have been searching for him.
14-year-old Madison Thompson has been missing since Sunday. She disappeared 2 days after Christmas.
He has now been missing for more than 60 hours.
But if you knew Nikki, that smile, you got that smile all the time.
It's been more than 20 years since Marilyn Renee Nikki McCown went missing. She was last seen at a Richmond, Indiana laundromat in July 2001.
I've been broken so many times in this 22 years, but what's kept me to keep going outside of my kids and family, it's been Nikki. I'm determined to find out where my sister is, who's involved in her disappearance, and what happened.
Now her family is making sure that no one forgets her name.
When Nikki disappeared, Michelle said local media coverage helped, but national news outlets did not pick up Nikki's story.
You would love your missing person case to go nationally because you don't know where they are. They could be anywhere.
Michelle is the outreach coordinator for the Doc Ellis Foundation, which wants to empower minority communities by bringing home missing people. She said the foundation just felt different from the moment they reached out to her.
It was someone that looked like me, so I felt like it was someone that understood what I was feeling, because I was feeling so defeated because my sister is a person of color. It seemed like nobody was listening to us.
According to the Black and Missing Foundation, nearly 40% of missing Americans are people of color, and adds there's unequal media coverage when it comes to missing white people versus minorities. The foundation thinks the disparity in coverage could be because missing minority adults are sometimes associated with criminal involvement and missing minority children are often classified as runaways.
The media can work better at helping push a positive story. There's oftentimes that you will see somebody reported missing and it's, mother reports son missing. Mother believes that son is missing. And then a day later, here comes their criminal record.
Jasmine and Hajordis Ellis are the co-founders of the Doc Ellis Foundation.
Everyone deserves the same exact type of attention.
For months, News Center 7 has reported on Sierra Chapman's disappearance. She was last seen at a Trotwood apartment 2 days after Christmas last year.
And it's just the not knowing. It's very it has you racing. It gets you in a panic, high anxiety.
As the search for Sierra continues, her family and friends have appreciated the local media coverage.
They kept the story alive. They kept people informed on what was going on. And we want to keep that. We don't want it to die down.
The same goes for Michelle. She understands not every missing person will have their story on the news, but she suggests news stations show missing person flyers at the end of their newscasts.
I think that would make a big difference. I think that would bring the gap between the community, missing person community, and especially the minority community. So for this to happen to her, whatever has happened to her, I don't understand.
Brandon Lewis reporting. The Doc Ellis Foundation says Ohio ranks 11th in the country for the number of missing persons. If you have any information on Nikki McCown or Sierra Chapman, we have numbers on our website that you can call.